Okay, vulnerability is what musicians are afraid of. When you're screaming all the time, it doesn't really mean much. Anybody can do it. But when you're being vulnerable in your lyrics, and you know that there's a part of you that is what you despise the most, everybody support each other in being the best you are. You know? Fucking carry the torch.
It's rolling. When it came to release the first album, it took a bit of time to get it out there. In a way, it was good for us because we were already able to begin writing the next album. We kind of always working on new ideas, be it in the room or in the van. And it came then to a head that we were looking to do album 2. Quite quickly, we shortlisted a number of names of people we thought might be interesting or interested in doing it. And very, very fast, that person became Ross Robinson. Upon getting everything finalised and confirmed with him, that kind of really struck a match under us, and I feel that as a band we work best and we've got a big goal in the future. I don't know if it took any longer or shorter than the first album, but I do remember that towards the end we were really going hell for leather, like spending an awful lot of time, just the three of us in our little practice room over one of the coldest winters that the UK's seen in a while. It was very exciting putting it all together, and still towards the end leaving some of it a little open-ended because we knew there was going to be certain tracks that were only going to get to their kind of finished state whenever we were over there, and we'd be able to complete them, and that was kind of important for us as well. We have woken up for the first day in Venice Beach, Los Angeles, to record the second Knuckle Driver album. It's just after 8 in the morning, equating to 4 p.m. back where we're from, and we are fucking hungry, man. So I think some pancakes are on the cards, and then some gear selection, and then I think from what Ross said last night, there's no hanging about. He wants to get stuck the fuck in, so let's do it. It was an interesting thing going to LA to record a record. It's something that as a band that we never ever would have considered. We've always kind of been a punk rock ethic band at heart, you know, and not that we're not ambitious with what we do, but we don't see ourselves as a band that would fly to Hollywood to do stuff like that. I was a little apprehensive about what I would feel about LA. You know, you hear stories, but you know, you don't know what anywhere's like until you go. And so we went out and stayed with Ross in his house in Venice Beach, and it was just breathtaking place, really cool house, cool vibes, and we were made very, very much at home. The next day we were instantly into getting our gear selected, Sean getting his kit sorted, Pete getting his bass sorted. I took a little bit more time getting my guitar kind of sound that I was after, or that Ross and me were keen to work on together. Two, 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2. All right, yeah. I was actually surprised when we got there and went and checked out the room and this little space that where the drum kit was and where we were obviously going to record. The studio, the way they had it set up, there was this almost pulsing, seething like energy about it. You could just tell, you know, and so many great bands have recorded there, and there'd been so much energy happening there, and it really was impossible not to be influenced by the power of it.
The vibe that he created in that whole room for the whole band as three individuals, just a really, really good positive vibe.
Ross is renowned for being physically involved, shall we say, with the bands that he works with, trying to get the best out of them. But so in this room we were all set up, literally we're all within shoving space, which Ross used very often to try to get results out of us. With regards to the physical violence, there would be occasions where he would stop, where he would say, "You're playing it too perfectly." There's a number of parts on the record where you can actually hear Ross grabbing my guitar mid-bits, but it was all in good jest and all to remind us to just make it as real as possible. And as real as possible isn't playing flawlessly, and it's not laying down some heartless, absolutely dead on balls accurate rendition. It's about the reality and how it is there and then, and the flaws are the beauty in the work. Doing the first album with Steve Albini, we all collectively are massive fans of the analog style of recording and vinyl, and there's just a certain warmth that you get off it, and we try more than anything to have this warmth running throughout our recordings. A room sound, a sound of space, a sound of human beings, not a sound of computers, no quantizing, click tracks, fucking multi-effects, etc, etc. You know, it just like raw is kind of where it's at, but raw and good and at the highest quality. With regards to writing the lyrics, I got up every morning and yeah, I did spend a lot of time staring out from Ross's beautiful beach house on the Venice beach, and I had gaps in my lyrics that I wanted to finish, or bits that I wasn't entirely happy with. I find lyrically I write and I rewrite an awful lot, and I'll scribble notes, and one of the big differences between this album and the last one was every single song seemed to have such a strong subject matter, and therefore it was very easy to get immersed into that subject matter and to try and feel what you were feeling there and then in this kind of place, and I think that was very important.
Nailed himself to that cross for you to see what it looks like. He sacrificed his fucking life. Okay? Make his life count for something. Growing up, for all of us, basically, alcohol has been this glorified, fabulous thing. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like the thing to do, you know, it's like fun, and the advertisements, and now everybody's seeing the tragedy of fame and fortune, and we've been hypnotized into believing that that's what we're supposed to do. That's what you do. When you turn 21, even JDT drone style, like, got wasted. It's part of our culture. What's going on? Get tonight! Touch on it! Bury us! This comfort comes! What a price might get you from! But still you're alive! We would talk endlessly, like before even tracks started, about what it meant.
This is the first time I've worked with an actual real producer in the truest sense, that he's getting in the room with you and just kind of pulling everything out, sort of just getting everyone's heads and hearts in the right place to play to the best of their ability. There was a couple of songs we were laying down where I'd be doing a 4 counting, and after 2 clicks he'd stop and just explain that that's not good enough, what you're doing. Where's the energy, where's the power?
I like the way he got right inside. He wanted to get inside the belly of the beast almost.
Hobbit shit.
Some proper Hobbit shit.
Yeah. That's your fucking job. Everything that you've ever done all the way up until this moment has been preparation for this moment. Everything. 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 This band being in your consciousness. The hunger, you know? All of that. Press that button. You're not supposed to even feel these instruments. They don't even exist. They're instruments. So is this. Because it's already gone. It's dead. What we exude is life. Yeah. That's your fucking job. We have the most important gig on earth. From the listener to the listener. Rip. Fucking rip.
Whenever it came to the live tracking, he set up the vocal mic and I went to do a bit of a take, but I could tell that my voice had been shot. I'd blown it out over the 2 days of really intense tracking.
How about them apples?
Bit of drama for the documentary.
Yeah. I've just got no more room on the credit card after getting there. So, none of it's concerned me at all. Ross said to me that I couldn't sing for at least 2 days, and that was a real gut shot because we were going home like the day afterwards and it needed to be fucking right.
When it became apparent that Aaron wasn't going to be able to lay down any of the vocals, flights were booked, wangled time off work, so there was no way that after being there for 3 days that we couldn't get that album finished.
I remember whenever he said in the studio, I felt like I'd let people down, but he was right and I couldn't do it. So he suggested something, which was basically to go to Beverly Hills to a guy called Dr. Sugarman, that he'd taken Rob Flynn to, I believe, 6 months before. Zakk Wylde had been there too and all this shit. And to get a shot of a cocktail injection, which included steroids. That would clear up my throat enough that would allow me to come back into the studio and sing. I used all my money and credit card to get to America, like we all did, and I had no money left. I didn't have it, and so Ross phones up this guy in Beverly Hills and says, you need to get this shot. And I'm talking to the girl on the phone, giving her my information, explaining I'm from Ireland, and she's like, yeah, okay, that's going to be $275, and I'm like, $275, and she's like, yep, and I'm like, I'm sorry, this can't happen. And Ross took the phone off me and he says, it is going to happen either way, even if I have to fucking pay for it, like it has to happen to get this album finished. And he was just deadly serious, like it had to happen, like
whatever it took was going to be done. Just putting your trust in someone that has worked with all those big
He says I've had my nose broken in the past and it's never been fixed, and I haven't been breathing right for years and years and years and years. And I breathe in through my mouth at night when I should be breathing in through my nose, and it dries out my vocal cords every single night. And that's to correct it. I probably need surgery. I had a shot, yeah. That's how normal people breathe.
Really?
And I just had a shot in my ass as well.
Hey!
Ow! Alright, let's focus on the mission at hand here. We'll do some more banjo picking before the week's out. Don't worry.
Can you sing some Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys?
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Zach Kasich.
Zach was the engineer of our album. Zach's a guy from South Dakota, really straight up dude, really lovely, energetic, positive guy, and we were just instantly felt so lucky to have him there.
He's just this total cowboy dude. But on the first night, he just had a cap on and a little kind of checky shirt. So you're just getting hints of his cowboy roots. Then as each day went past, in the studio, he'd gradually add a little bit of cowboyism to his get-up.
He was so cool. We call him the Wrangler because he was just a proper cowboy. He had a cowboy hat. He had like baby sea turtle cowboy shoes.
Look at that, man.
Holy shit.
See that? They get them when they're babies because the print is smaller, you know? So you get more detail.
Awesome.
When they grow up and they're full grown, they're can tell how they're worn. They're super worn, and you look on the inside, you can see these are.
I feel
These
sorry
are-
for the sea turtles that got to grow up and not become
They're
boots
worth-
with a tender inch of it.
$1,800 to $2,200 those boots.
We met this girl who was a friend of Ross's, and she was this 21-year-old Hawaiian girl who just had led the most extraordinary life.
Jackie Del Taco, just this absolute kind of walking saint of a woman. She rode a Harley Davidson. Like her aim in life was just to give.
I've tried describing Jackie to quite a few people, and I've always fell short.
It's just an absolute inspiration, and she definitely had an effect on the way that we recorded the album.
She did things like night swimming in the pipeline in Hawaii. She was trapped underwater for 3 minutes, where every time she came up there was another wave, and all she had to do was stay calm, and if she hadn't stayed calm she would have died. She was a surfer. She'd been knocked off her board by sharks before, and she was an incredible influence. And Ross invited her to come to be involved in the actual vocal tracking, so she was there in the booth with all of us. So whenever we went through this procedure that I've talked about of discussing like what the lyrical content meant, she would be in there with stories about things that had happened to her, some of which we recorded and some of which will appear in the album.
It's like as soon as you know that power is something that's not going to stop for a little while, you just relax and let it do its work on you. Go further down and be comfortable in your feels uncomfortable.
It really was one of the most special people I've met. Like she was great, and I definitely hope that I get a chance to meet her again.
You really don't realise how blessed you are doing what us three went over to California to do. You cross many people in your life, but when you cross someone like that, it makes quite a profound difference.
I don't feel the same person that I was before I went to LA, before I met Ross and Zach and Jackie. I really hope we can go back. I think that there's definite, we still have work to do.